I think it's high time we have to talk about this trend that we are seeing. Okay, it's a kind of a concerning trend that's going on with Marvel Rivals lately. And if you have not seen this, or if you are oblivious to this, then I'm happy for you because yeah, you don't pay attention to all the shit stuff that's going on in the game. What's happening is Marvel Rivals is losing players at an alarming rate, like really fast rate. And the season resets, as you can see, season 1 second stage, that is 1.5, basically 2, 2.53. These are not really bringing in as many players. Again, see, season 1.5 saw a bigger jump than season 3, for instance, right? Season resets are basically the time when they drop new heroes. So you can say that new heroes are also not enough to excite players and bring them back into the game. So what's happening? Why is Marvel Rivals losing so many players? Because I'll be honest with you guys, Marvel Rivals is a really fun game. I enjoy playing this game a lot. I have rarely enjoyed playing a PvP game as much as I have enjoyed Marvel Rivals because it's got that that little casual vibe to it, and it's not a very hardcore serious game like other PvP games. I personally don't get a lot of time to game, so a game that's semi-casual but also at the same time has a decent rank system and also has Marvel heroes was like the perfect sweet spot for me. It really hit off and the gameplay was really fun. I enjoyed it. So what is going on? Why are so many people not enjoying the game and why are so many people leaving the game? Because this number that we are at right now, 88k, okay, 24-hour peak is 84, but now we are at 88k. Anyways, this number is not healthy because when you look at it, 88k players are divided among all the servers, all the regions. If you live in a server that does not have a lot of players and the player numbers are dropping at this rate, it's very possible that after a few months, you will have to wait for 30 minutes, maybe even an hour to find a match. It's pretty concerning how it's dropping. Why is this dropping? Why is this happening? I think Marvel Rivals was going pretty good. As you can see, we had a huge spike, okay? But they couldn't keep up with the momentum and they fumbled really hard because they designed this game for casual players, right? And the problem was this game was so similar to Overwatch. A lot of people who were pissed off with Overwatch switched to Marvel Rivals. And Overwatch is a much more hardcore game than Marvel Rivals, right? When all of these hardcore players start flowing up into your game and your game is normally, usually made for casual audience, and you suddenly see so many players who are actual hardcores suddenly start playing your game, it kind of messes up with your plan, right? I don't think that is even part of having huge tournaments or having this game very competitive scene or something like that. They wanted a very casual experience, and that is why at season 1 we didn't have hero bands in gold. Now we do have them, right? So you can see NetEase is slowly and steadily adopting its game towards hardcore players. But what happens is when you change the game to fit hardcore players, you miss out on the casual players. And Marvel Rivals had a lot of casual players as well. So you cannot cater to both of them at once. You either cater to extremely hardcore players or you cater to extremely casual players. You cannot have both of them in the same boat and have everyone happy. And I think that is the problem with Marvel Rivals right now. Marvel Rivals has kind of lost its direction. It was meant to be a game for casual people to have fun with Marvel heroes, but now it's suddenly trying to become another Overwatch, and it's suddenly trying to become much more competitive. The way NetEase is handling this is not really helping either. If you guys have been following Marvel Rivals news and stuff lately, or even if you have been following this channel, you know that EOMM was a huge issue, right? A lot of people were complaining that the matchmaking in Marvel Rivals sucks, which it absolutely does. I agree. And people were saying that EOMM is the reason why the matchmaking sucks. So the devs went ahead and then they made a whole video explaining the matchmaking situation, which was a really basic video, to be honest. It did not explain anything like how their AI algorithms work, how win streaks and loss streaks affect your gameplay or your matchmaking teammates, how your previous seasons or anything records affect your gameplay. It was a very basic explanation, and only people who like have two brain cells are gonna be happy with it because they cannot understand anything more than that. But the thing is, it was a very basic explanation, and they went ahead and clearly said that they do not use EOMM, and I think that pissed off a lot more people than if they would have just said that we use EOMM. Right? Because at that point, I think a huge number of players had already accepted the fact that Marvel Rivals is using EOMM, and that is why the matchmaking is trash. But now the devs suddenly went ahead and said that we don't use EOMM. So now the situation is the game does not have EOMM, and still the matchmaking is absolutely garbage. So that means their matchmaking algorithm itself is so bad that even without EOMM, it's just fucking up all the matches, right? Matches are totally unbalanced. Sometimes you have clowns for your team, sometimes you have enemies who are clowns, right? Some games are impossible to win, and I'm seeing people go on 13, 14 loss streaks, which is like extremely low probability according to what the Marvel Rivals devs have said about matchmaking. If that is true, then there's roughly a 50% chance of you winning every game, and going on a 13 loss streak, that's like astronomically low probabilities of that happening if there is actually 50% chance of you winning games, right? And 13 loss streaks, 12 loss streaks are not rare. I have had them. Many people have had them. Big streamers have had them. Okay, people are posting about these loss streaks every single day. So clearly, it's not a 50% chance of you winning every game. Clearly, because then how are people going into these many long loss streaks? It's just impossible, right? People are also having long win streaks, but I think loss streaks are more common at this point. Matchmaking is so broken. Okay, people are picking up, like, sometimes you will find these teams, especially in lower elos, where your team decides to go 5 DPS and the enemy team is mature enough to pick 2 healers, 2 support, 2 tanks, right, 2 DPS. They go a completely balanced team. They pick up all the meta heroes and they are completely stomping. And your team has 5 DPS, but none of the players actually have the IQ to switch out of DPS and go into a tank or healer. So this is not really like a elo problem at this point. Both of these players are in platinum. It's just that the players on your team have so less IQ, right? The players on your team have so less game sense that they don't want to win. They don't want to pick a team that's going to win. And you're putting these players against people who are actually willing to win, who are actually willing to pick a balanced team, who are actually willing to fight. And this happens way too often in lower elos. Why am I talking about lower elos? Because more than 80% of the people in this game are still below plat. That ain't funny, okay? The majority of the people are below plat. So we have to talk about low elo now, right? We cannot be talking about the 0.2, 0.3% of the player base, because that rarely affects anybody else in the game. They are playing a totally different game. Let me tell you, they are playing a totally different game. It's very different from what you and I play. Okay, so their problems are not our problems, and Marvel Rivals seems to be following their problems more than our problems, right? They are releasing nerfs and buffs based on what the 0.2, 0.3% of the player base is facing. Let's take a look at Ultron, for instance. When Ultron came out, he had really mid healing, right? And his damage was kind of good. So people figured out that, okay, this guy cannot be used as a main healer. So what they did was they started going triple healer comps, where Ultron was basically the the DPS, hidden DPS, but he also used to give some heals in clutch situations. So he could save the backline from a dive by healing them at the perfect time, or he could put a heal drone on flying heroes or on dives and keep them alive. People figured out a way to play Ultron like that, and most of his gameplay would be focused on damaging because his damage fall-off was not really that high, and he was pretty good at sniping. So yeah, people were focusing on DPS and slight heals here and there, and I think that was a pretty fun way to play Ultron. Ultron is one of the most fan-favorite heroes in the game, right? He has one of the best designs, hands down, in the game, and his abilities were really cool. So people really loved Ultron, and that was a really cool way to play him. But because the top 0.2%, 0.3% players were abusing this 3 healer comp, right? They were just so good at sniping with Ultron, the devs decided to nerf him. So now Ultron does not have heals, Ultron cannot do damage, and Ultron's ultimate is one of the worst ultimates, healer ultimates, in the entire game. Like, no kidding, that is one of the most trashiest ultimates in the entire game. 2 people shoot you and you're dead. A fan favorite hero just turned into a literal garbage. And now when you pick Ultron in lower elos, people say you're trolling. Heck, you can pick Jeff and people will still be quiet. But if you pick Ultron, the whole lobby is gonna start crying. The whole lobby will say that you're trolling. You are throwing the game. People would rather have Adam Warlock, Mantis, Rocket, or Jeff as the third healer than Ultron. That's because this fan favorite hero got nerfed so bad that he became absolutely useless. And this is not just Ultron. Let's take a look at Spider-Man, okay? Yeah, I agree Spider-Man was a huge menace, right? But in any game, in any hero shooter game, if you look at heroes who are extremely difficult to play, they have like huge mechanics involved. These heroes normally are very rewarding once you learn how to play them, because you have to deal with so many mechanics. You have to put in hundreds of hours to learn one hero. So when you finally master that hero, the rewards are just that good. But Marvel Rivals is the only game where the very difficult heroes actually lose value once you master them. Take an example of Spider-Man. Spider-Man is so difficult, and even if you master him now, he's just trash. They nerfed him so bad that you cannot get good value out of Spider-Man as you would get out of someone like Psylocke. Psylocke is like much easier than Spider-Man. Okay? And you just don't get value out of Spider-Man anymore as much as you would get out of Psylocke. That's the reality. Take a look at Widow. Widow is insanely difficult to play. And right from day one, people who master Widow, it's no use, right? Someone who has mastered Hawkeye will always bring in more value than someone who has mastered Widow, even though Widow is so much more difficult. That is a huge problem. These heroes, Spider-Man has a huge fan base, okay? A huge fan base. And once you make this hero unplayable, once you nerf this hero to the ground, the whole Spider-Man fan base tends to get pissed off. We have to understand at the end of the day, this is a Marvel game, right? This is not like your other hero shooters where other heroes are just heroes in the game, right? No one is personally attached to that hero. No one is like putting up posters of those heroes in their walls. No one is drooling over those heroes. Nobody goes to watch movies of those heroes. Marvel is a completely different thing. And here we have people who are hardcore fans of certain heroes and hardcore haters of certain heroes. So when their favorite heroes suddenly become useless and they cannot use those heroes in game, they get pissed. Okay, this is a Marvel game. They cannot play their favorite Marvel hero. They just leave. That is exactly what's happening in this game. That is exactly what is going on, because Marvel fan base is different from your say FPS fan base. It's very different. You cannot have Marvel fans and FPS fans both happy at the same time, because Marvel fans, they watch the movie, they are like, oh my god, Scarlet Witch is extremely OP, she can literally solo Thanos. And then you go into the game and play Scarlet Witch and you're like, oh my god, this bitch is so useless. she is literally so useless, right? She is so weak. When you come from a Marvel fan perspective, it really breaks your immersion, right? And you start hating the game because they made your favorite hero so weak. They made your favorite hero trash. And that is exactly what's going on. That is exactly what's going on. Marvel fans are leaving the game. And right now, I think the people who are playing this game are hardcore Marvel Rival fans, right? They are in for the gameplay. They are not in for the Marvel heroes. They are not in for anything else, because they have already given up hope on that part. They're playing the game because they just enjoy the gameplay, and that's about it. They don't care much personally about the heroes or anything like that. But let me be honest. Let me be honest. If I was a Spider-Man fan, and if I had watched every single Spider-Man movie in existence, and if I had Spider-Man plushies and Spider-Man figurines in my house, right? And I was playing this game and I opened and tried to play Spider-Man and I saw that it was absolutely bullshit, I would delete this game. The hero pool in this game is so unbalanced. It's so unbalanced. The number of supports we have in this game, the number of tanks we have in this game, compared to the number of DPS, the difference is way too huge. And they decided to launch Phoenix. They decided to launch Blade, 2 DPS characters back to back when the game is lacking supports, when the game is lacking tanks. And it's not that we just have less healers. It's that out of all these healers, only 2 or 3 healers are actually usable. Luna Snow, Cloak Dagger, and Loki. Everyone uses these 3 healers. If you pick anybody else, people call you a troll. People say that you're throwing the game. So basically, other heroes who are like super OP in Marvel comics and in Marvel movies, like Adam Warlock, are absolute trash in this game. So as a Marvel fan, You come and you see Adam Warlock and you're like, oh my god, this guy is so OP in the movies. I want to play Adam Warlock. And you just see that he is absolute garbage. And because you're picking Adam Warlock, everyone is shitting on you and they're telling you to go Luna Snow. And you're like, bro, Adam Warlock is like the superhuman. How can he be weaker than Luna Snow? But in reality, he is in this game. Wouldn't that piss you off? As a healer player, wouldn't that piss you off that every single game you have to play the same healer? I think this is going in the same direction as Overwatch was previously, right? The reason Overwatch players quit Overwatch and came to Marvel Rivals was because the meta in Overwatch was getting so toxic. Everyone is playing the same heroes, the same healers, same tanks, right? Every game was the same. Everyone is tryharding. And at the end of the day, Marvel Rivals is becoming exactly the same because some heroes are so broken when they should not be so broken. Some heroes are absolutely useless, even though they should be broken. And they have been like this since Season 0. Luna has not been nerfed since Season 0. She is still so broken. Adam Warlock has been useless since Season 0. And he is still useless. Mantis always like the third tier healer from Season 0. And even now she is third tier healer. If people are getting tired of seeing the same meta, same characters, every single game. If you are a tank main, right? You have to have a Magneto every game. You have to have one Magneto or one Doctor Strange every single game. Doesn't this get absolutely boring? Doesn't this become a headache? Once you're trying to play tanks and you're like, okay, I want to play something fun today. I want to play Venom. I want to play Thor. And you pick these heroes and instantly everyone is like, oh, this dude wants to throw. Let's throw the game. And then you are forced to play the same exact Magneto you have been playing since Season 0. You have like 2,000 matches in Magneto and you're still having to play this dude because you pick anybody else and people throw the game. This is so frustrating. So frustrating. This is exactly what happened in Overwatch. And their nerfs and buffs, they're not helping. They are bringing like the same meta again and again. Let's take an example, okay? In Season 0, Spider-Man, dives, everyone was very broken, right? Dives were very broken. Then they brought Hulk team up with Namor to counter dives, like Spider-Man, Panther, okay, Iron Fist, and all of that stuff. So dive meta suddenly died out, and we suddenly started seeing healer meta. Everyone is going Cloak Dagger Luna, and they're ulting the whole game. Nobody is dying. The heals are absolutely insane. Then they thought, okay, the healer meta has become strong. So they buff the dives again. So Panther's buff gets fixed. Iron Fist becomes stronger, right? Again, people start complaining that the dive is really strong. Dives are killing everybody. Iron Fist is killing everybody. They go ahead and nerf Iron Fist. Then what? Then they release Ultron. 3 healers are again broken. Everyone is again doing heal battles, right? Then they are like, oh, we nerf Luna, we nerf Cloak Dagger, but now people are going 3 healers. Let's go and nerf Ultron again. People go and nerf Ultron. They go and nerf Ultron. They go and buff, not buff exactly, but they fix Black Panther. And now the same dive meta that was like pissing people off in Season 1 again came back. Okay, now people are again frustrated with dives, and then the devs went ahead and said, oh no, we didn't want dive meta to come back again, so they go ahead and then they nerf Wolverine, they nerf Black Panther again, right? Spider-Man has been in the grave ever since 2 seasons, so let's not talk about him. Yeah, they nerf the dive meta again, and now what happens? Now people are again back to the triple healer comp. People are again back to spamming heal. So if you notice this, what's happening is one patch is healer meta, one patch is dive meta, one patch is healer meta again, then again a dive meta, then again a healer meta, again a dive meta. Bro, people are going to be absolutely pissed seeing the same shit on loop every single season. Every single season, these few heroes in the game, they keep coming back to meta and then they keep falling back to meta, and it's the same exact loop every single season. And heroes which were never in meta, they are still not in meta because devs just cannot fix them for some reason. They are still useless. You're seeing the result of that. Right now. People are quitting. People are quitting in mass numbers. And when season resets happen, they used to be spikes like these. Look at now how small of a spike this is. Look at how small these spikes are. Crazy small spikes. Okay? Compared to this. Crazy small spikes. Because people are done. They know that every single season reset, is gonna be the same. It's either gonna be a healer meta again, or it's gonna be a dive meta again. They're gonna release another new DPS who's gonna be broken, and that DPS is gonna be nerfed the next season. Exactly what's happening. If you take a look at Overwatch right now, because Overwatch kind of went downhill after Marvel Rivals came out. But if you look at Overwatch now, look at this down. Look at this now. Look at the number of players they suddenly gained. Okay, and Overwatch is actually doing pretty consistent. This is a 6-month chart, right? Take a 6-month chart look at Marvel Rivals. You see, Marvel Rivals is going down, but Overwatch isn't really going down. Overwatch is maintaining its players, and now it has suddenly increased. Even though the number of players on Steam are less, we have to consider the fact that Overwatch has Battle.net. And most of the people playing Overwatch play from Battle.net on PC. They don't use Steam because Battle.net is like integrated to Overwatch, right? Most of the old players play using Battle.net. This player number right now, 23k, it looks, okay, Marvel Rivals is 28, but this looks less than Marvel Rivals, right? The 24-hour peak looks like half of Marvel Rivals, but when you count it in, when you count the Battle.net numbers, we don't really have Battle.net, but Battle.net has much more players than Steam. This number is realistically close to 30k right now. Realistically, maybe even more. You know, it's probably close to 40k because more than half of the players are on Battle.net. So a safe assumption would be that 40k players are playing Overwatch right now, and this 24-hour peak is well above 80k. Overwatch is back to where it was before Marvel Rivals. This is because the devs started actually listening, and you know, this is why competition is so good. This is why competition is so good for any product, for any industry. Overwatch saw that its game is gonna die if they don't listen to players, and so they started listening, and now they are making changes into the game. They're bringing in new game modes, right? They are balancing the game. The new heroes that they have released, they are more popular, right? Now, I am not a very hardcore Overwatch fan, so I don't really know a lot about Overwatch, but Flats made a really good video about this, what's going on with hero shooters. This one he just released 2 days ago. This will give you a really good idea of what's really going on with Overwatch, because he is an OG Overwatch player, right? He knows much more than I know. But yeah, Overwatch started listening to players, and you are seeing the results of that. Meanwhile, Marvel Rivals is straight up denying players, is saying that we don't have EOMM, oh, you are the fault, you are losing because you suck, okay? And that is why you are seeing people are losing their minds and they're leaving this game. You cannot blame the players for this. Like, it's 100% the devs' fault at this point. And the game is slowly, again, you will start to see these. You will start to see these, right? As the players are losing out, as the players are leaving the game, you will see NetEase is slowly starting to get desperate with this game. Every single season, there are now 2 mini passes with legendary skins, right? Earlier, these skins used to be on the shop. Now they are on a mini pass. Now the mini pass is more value than the shop. But that also means that you have more stuff to pay for in the game. They introduced a whole new different kind of currency for the ability cosmetics, right? For the altered versions of the skins. They added more ways to spend money into the game. They suddenly started giving off more stuff for free, right? And they started making skins cheap. They started making bundles. You see these stuff when you know that the game is dying and the devs are desperate to make money. So they are bringing in more like monetization. They're bringing in more free stuff to lure players, and they're bringing in more monetization options that are cheap so that everyone starts spending in the game. And the thing that happens is, once you start spending money in a game, it becomes very difficult to leave the game. Because you know you have spent the money, right? The mentality sticks with you that I have invested money and time in this game. I cannot leave it. That kicks in. And that is why a lot of players who have spent their money, like who have spent money once in a game, they tend to stick to that game for a really long time. NetEase is playing with this mindset right now. And the hero releases and maps, they are also like so slow. They came up with a new game mode, the Rumble mode, Resource Rumble mode, and honestly, it looks fun, but it's not very different from the Domination game modes you already have. It's just an extended version of the Domination game mode. So it's not really changing anything. It's not anything creative. It's not anything that's going to blow people's minds away. It's going to attract players. You can see that, right? It dropped in season 3. What, do you see a huge spike of players after after the new game mode dropped? No, you don't, because people don't care about that. It's very simple. It's extremely similar to the game modes that we already had, right? And the hero releases are also so slow. Marvel has like thousands of characters, at the pace at which they're like revealing heroes. This game is going to take at least 100 years to probably deploy every single Marvel hero. It may take even longer because it's so slow. They can go full ham with the heroes. Marvel Rivals, one of the main reasons the game started so popular is because the game started with many heroes. People had a lot of choice when the game started. Now people don't really have a lot of choice because the meta is fixed. You cannot pick anything other than the meta, and the new heroes they are releasing so slow that people have to play the same heroes again and again for the whole season. The choice factor is slowly dying out, and NetEase can easily fix this by releasing more heroes, especially healers and tanks, because that place is like a barren desert. There are no healers and tanks that are meta other than like 2 or 3 of them, right? So they can totally fix this, but I don't know why they decide to go with one hero every half season. It's like such a slow strategy. It's such a slow release cycle, and people are just bored playing the same heroes again and again. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I love this game. I don't want this game to die because I am a Marvel fan, and there are so few Marvel games that are actually good, like which have PvP. There's like literally none that is actually as good and as high quality as Marvel Rivals right now. Others just feel very cheap, and they just feel very much like pay to win and shit like that. Right? I don't feel like playing those games. Marvel Rivals is the only Marvel game that's actually fun to play right now, and it helps me kill time a lot. So I don't want this game to die. But the way these devs are doing things, it's evident that this game will just die if they don't fix a lot of things in this game. So what do you guys think of this situation? What do you guys think? Why do you think Marvel Rivals is losing so many players? Let me know down in the comments. I want to know your opinions. I think I covered most of the problems with this game, but yeah, there may be some things that I may have overlooked, right? So let me know about that in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video.